Hola y bienvenido. I know that you're super entusiasmado because we're going to talk about everyone's favorite thing to learn, la hora, or time. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Most of my students actually quite dislike learning the time, and I think it's because if you think way back when you were un niño chiquitito or un niña chiquitín, learning time is just like a different cool concept in general, using the, what do they call that? Not digital, but that kind of clock. Analog? Anyway, it's a tricky concept, right? It's kind of a weird concept anyway. And then for us, we're integrating a new language, and a lot of people struggle with the numbers anyway. So if you're struggling with it, please don't be hard on yourself. I still sometimes am like, wait, son las tres. But anyway, so let's get started. So first of all, let me point out that we're calling it la hora. La hora translates to the hour, okay? And notice that it's a feminine word. So that is going to make sense to you as we go through the different vocab associated with telling time. There is another word for time, it's tiempo, but that's like a different concept. Tiempo also means weather, but that's a whole other story. But when you're saying, for example, I don't have the time, you say no tengo el tiempo. But when you're saying the time, like what time is it? You say ¿qué hora es? What's the hour, literally? So to get started, I wrote down some vocab. If you want to write that down or just kind of think about it for a second, you can pause the video because I won't awkwardly stand here. Or will I? Anyway. So first phrase, ¿qué hora es? What time is it? That's a little bit important to know. See? Son las, and we'll talk about what these mean. That's what this video is for. But just if you want to write them down first or whatever. Es la media, cuarto, mediodía, and medianoche. So if you want to pause, write those down, do your thing. But I'm about to erase them. Here they go. Ah! Okay. All right, so let's get started with just saying regular old time, okay? We'll start with 1 o'clock, because 1 o'clock is a little different. If it were 1 o'clock, see? You would say es la una. And I'm assuming going into this video that you know your numbers. If not, do a little review. But yeah. Okay. Es la una. Now, why is this different than the rest of the numbers? If you think about it, it makes sense. 1 o'clock is just 1 hour. See? Una hora. So that's why we use everything in the singular form. Es la una. Just 1 hour. Okay? And then I'll talk about how to say the other ones in a second, but that would be the same even if it were 1:10. Es la una y 10. See? So you say, literally translated, it's the 1. So la, referring to the hora, that's why it's feminine, see? Es la una, it's the 1 and 10. It's 1:10. Bien? Same thing if it were 1:35. Es la una y 35. See? Muy fácil. All right. Now, what about the rest of the hours? Is that different than saying it's 1 o'clock? Yes. Why? Good question. Because the rest are more than 1 hour, so it's going to be plural. That's when you're going to start with son las. Okay? Again, it makes sense because here it's just 1 hour, so everything's singular. But 2 through 12 is more than 1, so we go with the plural version. Okay? So son las, if it's 2 o'clock, son las dos. Okay? Again, that's the same thing if it were 2:50. Son las 2:50. It's 2 and 50. That might be QU. 50. Yeah, my bad. See, even la profesora tiene confusión a veces. Okay. It would be the same thing even if it were, let's say it were 11:20. Son las 11:20. Okay? Son las what? Try it. Son las 7:07. No? Muy bien. Okay? Now, what about, you know how in English we say it's 3 on the dot? You would say son las. My clock is a little wonky, forgive me. You would say son las 3 en punto. See? En punto translates to on point or on the dot, as we would say in English. Okay, so there you go. I forgot to write that on the vocab list, but en punto, on the dot. Bien? Okay. Let's see, where should we go from here? Okay, are there any shortcuts? So let's say, for example, we'll stick with the 3 o'clock hour. Say that it's 3:30. All right, so you could say, just like we just learned, you could say son las 3:30. And that's perfectly fine. Literally, it's 3:30. It's 3 and 30, okay? But is there a shortcut, you ask? Yes, siempre hay una manera más fácil. This is where that one vocab word, media, comes in. So son las 3:30. Okay, so media literally translates to half. So in this case, 30 minutes is half of an hour, so it makes sense. Bien? Bien. Son las 3:30. Son las 4:30. Es la 1:30. So remember, anytime it's in the 1 o'clock hour, it's a little bit different. Son las 10:30. Bien? All right. What's the other special word we learned? Let's change up the hour. Which one we haven't used? 9. We'll say it's 9:15. Son las 9. Okay? Y 15. Totally, perfectly acceptable. It's 9 and 15. It's 9:15. Son las 9:15. But the special word we have, that we had at the board at the beginning of the video, is cuarto. Okay? Cuarto, not to be confused with cuatro. What does cuatro mean? 4, right? Notice where the T's and the R's are. Cuarto translates to a quarter, okay? So what are we talking about in this particular context? We're talking about a quarter of an hour, which is 15 minutes. And in the next video, I'll teach you how to say like it's quarter till, okay? So son las 9:15. Again, same thing. If it were 1:15, boom. Es la 1:15. Bien? 1:15. What if it were 4:15? Son las 4:15. Again, 4:15. So they are pretty parecidos. See, you just have to be careful with the way you hear, say, spell. Bien. All right. What else we got? One thing I will cover in the next video is we say AM and PM, or we write that in English. They don't use that in Espanol. In the next video, I tell you what they use instead. Bien. Okay. But one more thing I want to tell you, and then we'll leave it at that for the day. There are a couple special ways to say midnight and noon. All right? And those were the 2 vocab words I wrote down at the beginning. So we got es el mediodía, es la medianoche. Okay? So medianoche, maybe it's a different color here, is midnight. Mediodía is noon. So just like we have special, we don't say it's 12 a.m. I mean, we do. It's 12 in the morning, we say that. But more often than that, we say it's midnight, right? Same thing here is mediodía, it's noon. It's just like a little shortcut way to say things, the same way we do in English, okay? Now the key thing to remember here is you're saying it a little bit differently. When it's the 1 o'clock hour, you always say es la whatever. If it's the 2 through 12 o'clock hours, you start with son las. Okay? But these 2 have a different beginning. Es el mediodía, es la medianoche. Why, you ask? Good question. Because here, the verb and the article are agreeing with this word, this compound word, so we have to use the last part of the compound word to figure out what my gender is. Dia, even though it ends in A, is a masculine word, so hence el mediodía, okay? And then here, the last word in the compound word is noche, meaning night, which is a feminine word, so es la medianoche, okay? Bien. And here it kind of makes sense. Oh, and that's also too why this is medianoche, mediodía. Everything in Espanol has to agree, see? And this makes sense too because I just talked to you about what medio means. It means half. So it's halfway through the day or halfway through the night. Bien? ¿Preguntas? Come see me if you have a pregunta, okay? Súper fácil y ahora sabes cómo decir la hora en español. Adiós.